because the starting quarterbacks have been named for the opener between the Vols and the Orange down there in Atlanta, and it went about how we expected. Joey Aguilar versus Steve Angeli is what you got. I'm almost just tempted to call this the Nico replacement bowl because these two guys were both guys that I don't know if Tennessee really wanted Steve Angeli, but I just think he was the first guy to enter the portal after Nico had entered the portal. So it was just like, Vol, come here, you're a Vol. So, but of course, Joey Aguilar, you get him in what was more or less a trade with UCLA. So that is officially your starting quarterback matchup in Atlanta. Jordan, your initial thoughts on Steve Angeli and Joey Aguilar getting the job?
Well, I mean, like with the Joey Aguilar situation, I mean, I feel like we assumed that this was going to happen. I mean, there was a period where I thought Jake Merklinger was going to be the guy, as do I think a lot of Tennessee fans. But like getting Joey Aguilar in the transfer portal, especially getting him from UCLA too. I mean, you figure Tennessee's going to get a guy for a reason. They're not just going to pay a player and like break their back trying to get another quarterback if they're not going to play him. And I think, Tennessee, I think they just want experience for this season. And like experience is what like Joey Aguilar is going to bring to Tennessee. And I was looking at stats earlier today. I mean, so Jake Merklinger, right? He's got 9 passing attempts in his career at Tennessee. And meanwhile, like, Joey Aguilar hasn't played in the SEC or anything like that, or hasn't dealt with the schedule like what Tennessee's going to have to face. But Joey Aguilar has 850 passing attempts. So there's significantly more like playing experience there. And I think that's what Tennessee's would want to look towards, especially starting the season with there being so much uncertainty with how thin that Tennessee is on offense, losing like all of its receivers and pretty much all of its offensive line, losing SEC Offensive Player of the Year, Dylan Sampson. I mean, we still don't know what Tennessee's identity is going to be like this season. So I feel like the safest bet is to have the guy that's had the most reps, the guy that has the most experience, that's kind of been there, done that. And, like the good thing is, even if Joey Aguilar doesn't end up playing well, Tennessee still got 2 talented quarterbacks on the roster. And like I've mentioned before, I mean, Tennessee took the experience back in the day with Matt Sims as their quarterback, and they tried making that work for a little bit until they finally, were like, we're not going to do this anymore, put the freshman in and Tyler Bray, and then look how that went. I mean, Tennessee didn't win a whole lot during that time, but I mean, Tyler Bray was clearly the better quarterback and put Tennessee in better positions to win. So, I mean, like, who's to say that couldn't happen this year either? Of course, I think everyone wants to see Joey Aguilar be successful and know that you got this guy for a good reason. But I don't think it's the end of the world if he ends up underperforming either, because like I said, I mean, Merklinger's got talent, and then George McIntyre has potential to be a stud in the future.
Yeah. It's funny because I was just scrolling through the internet earlier today and stumbled across, I think the guy's name is Brooks Austin. He does all these like film studies of different teams, everybody in college football. It's not just because he covers Georgia, but he does all kinds of different film studies. But he looked into some of Nico's film last year against Ohio State, and he's just watching him trying to go through his progressions. He went through one progression, and then he just, instead of just going like this, he like turned his entire body as if he was going to run and just abandoned the other 2, one of which could have been a touchdown against Ohio State. Not that it was going to get Tennessee back in the game, but like, the more that we go back and watch what Nico did last season, the more we realize Tennessee did not actually have it that good with Nico last year. Because I mean, all these throws from the Alabama game, just like what was he doing in some of those instances? I think it was Squirrel was the one that he had right down the middle of the field for a touchdown and just totally missed on him. Like, I don't know how you do that. The interception he threw in the south end zone, like nobody was there. literally just throw the ball anywhere but to the Alabama DB, and that's exactly what you did. You threw it straight to him. So, I at least hope that if Joey Aguilar throws more interceptions than the other quarterbacks that we've seen come through the Heupel system this year, it's at least in an effort to make big plays, unlike what we saw with Nico last year, which I couldn't tell you what some of the purposes for those throws were.
Yeah, and I mean, a lot of us like Tennessee fans like held Joe Milton to the fire for him like not being able to be able to connect with those big passes and everything like that. But I feel like a lot of times, Tennessee fans, like we just gave Nico a lot of grace because he was a 5-star quarterback. He was like highly touted recruit, and you would hope that he would be able to get things together. And who knows, maybe he does with UCLA and everything. But I mean, the way that he was treated, like from the outside, like he's kind of like treated like the second coming of Peyton Manning in ways, whereas like he didn't necessarily he didn't really prove that. And like I've always been critical on Nico and like how long it would take for him to like release the ball in the pocket. I think that was like one of the biggest complaints against him. And luckily for Tennessee, I don't think that would be as big of an issue with Aguilar. And like, yeah, maybe he does throw more interceptions and everything, but like, I watched a lot of Peyton Manning being like a Colts fan and stuff in the NFL. Peyton Manning, like, he had turnovers too, like more than you would think if you go look up his stats, but because he wasn't afraid to go out there and throw the football. Like he believed in himself. He had the confidence that he can complete that pass. And I'm hoping that that's what it's going to be like with Joey Aguilar. Like, obviously, I don't expect him to be like Peyton Manning, especially after what I just said about Nico. But I mean, like, you do want to see a quarterback have the confidence to be able to make quick decisions and everything and get the ball out and hopefully make big plays, not like just sit there waiting for the perfect opportunity to come and then it doesn't happen and then you just got to run away or just whatever you must do. Like, just be able to like make up your mind quick. I think that's something that Tennessee could really benefit from this season, and especially with like how Josh Heupel likes to conduct his offenses and like how Tennessee's had some quick receivers in the past. I mean, if we get a quarterback to make quick decisions with the athleticism that's on the roster, I mean, Tennessee could have some pretty dangerous plays like you saw with like Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt.
Give me 5 300-plus yard passing performances with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions every day of the week over, a 20 for 40 performance with 150 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I mean, the first one at least tells me that you're doing something.
Yeah, like for real, like I don't have like the stats readily available. I don't know if you know or not, but I mean, like how many times did Nico like even throw for 200 yards in a game? Because
I'll pull it up for us.
Yeah, it couldn't have been much. Like I want to say like even against maybe even like against Vanderbilt, he like only threw 190 or something like that.
Well, he's part of the reason why Tennessee did win that game. I'll give him that. Let's see. Looking at the overall pass yards here, broke 211 against NC State last season. 194 against Oklahoma, 158 against Arkansas, 169 against Florida, 194 against Alabama. Did hit 292 against Kentucky, so that's at least something. Mississippi State, he left early. Let's see, Georgia just 167. Tennessee only had 219 total against UTEP, and I would hazard a guess that he did not throw all 219 of those passing yards. He did throw for 257 against Vanderbilt and just 104 against Ohio State. So overall, still not very good. That's a lot of games in there where he did not break 200 pass yards.
Yes, I think I heard like maybe 2 or 3 games where he cracked
against meaningful opponents.
Oh, against meaningful opponents. Then,
yeah, that's my main point here. Like, you can ball out all you want against Chattanooga and Kent State. It's still Chattanooga and Kent State. If you can't do it against, the average SEC team, then I have concerns with your ability to play quarterback in an SEC offense.
Yeah, I mean, The thing is, I don't think we're going to see a lot of the problems that we saw with Nico with Joey Aguilar. I mean, I think he will come in here with making quicker decisions, everything, and he has more experience than Nico too. Like I know I brought that up earlier about his experience, but I mean, I think like there is like some benefits to that. I mean, look at like what Stetson Bennett was able to achieve with Georgia a couple years ago, like just sitting around waiting for his opportunity and everything. I mean, like experience still is important. I mean, of course you do want like guys that can come in there and end up being dominating, but I mean, I think Joey Aguilar is just a placeholder quarterback for this season to start with anyways. I mean, I think Tennessee is kind of looking towards their future with like Faison Brandon, maybe even George McIntyre. I mean, like Tennessee is doing a stellar job in recruiting and everything right now that, I mean, of course the goal is to try to win a national championship, but I mean, like just to put up something like noteworthy of this season, whether it's like finishing 10-2 or not, which I think would be a pretty successful season for Tennessee. You know, I mean, I think Joey Aguilar probably gives you the best chance as of right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And what if he goes out there and just has like a year like Sam Darnold did for the Vikings last season? Nobody's really expecting him to come in here and just tear it up, and then suddenly you look up and he's got double-digit wins for the season. That'd be something.
Yeah,
that would be something. And obviously, this offense is not going to demand him to play hero ball a ton. Not that the fans necessarily want him to, because that could be troublesome if he's out there forcing some throws he shouldn't make. But I do think there is the possibility that he comes out and has a much better year than what Tennessee was thinking it was going to get itself into by the time spring rolled around.
Yeah, and you got to think that he must be very motivated as well. Like I'm sure everyone that's watching this has like seen some of the preseason rankings they've had for quarterbacks in the SEC. Almost every single one of them I've seen has had Joey Aguilar right there at like number 16th, right there is like the bottom. And I'm sure a lot of that has to do with people being uncertain on how he's going to play in the SEC and all of that. But I mean, like, I will say, like, seeing that list, if I was Joey Aguilar, that would make me quite upset, and I would want to prove a lot of people wrong. And I mean, I'll say this with full confidence, like Joey Aguilar is not going to be the worst quarterback in the SEC this season.
No, I don't think it will happen. Who do we think it would be, though?
It'd be funny if it was Diego Pavia.
It would be very funny.
That would be the funniest solution to see for sure.
Because the thing with Diego Pavia is the book is out on him. People know what Vanderbilt's all about at this point, and people are going to want to come out and absolutely rip his head off, if possible. Just thinking, other than Diego Pavia that we just
who's
mentioned,
Kentucky got at quarterback?
Zach Calzada.
No way.
The guy that beat Alabama 4 years ago in College Station. So I think it's not impossible that they come out and just have a terrible year because Zach Calzada can't make the transition back to SEC play. In fact, I think it's entirely possible that they have a pretty rough season this year. I don't know, maybe Bo Prabula at Mizzou could be in there. But if he lights the world on fire, we'll obviously take that back. Blake Shapen at Mississippi State's a possibility. Jackson Arnold at Auburn. Unless Deuce Knight ends up beating him out mid-season, kind of like with what we were talking about earlier with Bray and Sims back in 2010. You have a situation where you bring in a veteran guy, he doesn't do well, but you have a very talented freshman behind him. You let the freshman get the keys, and suddenly he's tearing it up. So that could be a possibility too for Auburn. But to answer the question, I don't think there is a possibility that Joey Aguilar is your worst quarterback in the league this year.
Yeah, I mean, I would find hard to believe, especially like in a hypo-led offense. Like I know we've said it over and over again, but I mean, just take Tennessee out of the equation. Like you're talking about Landry Jones, you're talking about Drew Lock. Say whatever you want about his NFL career. He threw more career passing touchdowns than Peyton Manning did at Tennessee. And then like you got even like some throwbacks like Blake Bell, who is not necessarily your traditional passer. We've mentioned Chucky Keaton on here before. I mean, whoever Heupel's coach has been successful to some degree or another. So I mean, with almost anyone at quarterback, I would imagine like Tennessee to at least throw like 20 touchdowns with their quarterback and not have too many interceptions, which is essentially what Joe Milton and Nico did. And those were probably two of his like least successful quarterbacks that he's like coached from like a statistic standpoint. So, I mean, you would assume that Joey Aguilar would do better than that. And people are still hyping up Nico to this day, even though that he's with UCLA and everything now. So, I mean, I think Joey Aguilar's got potential to be really good this season. Like, but I think that we're going to have to wait and see how he plays against like SEC caliber opponents and how he's going to handle some of these situations, because I don't know exactly who all that he played when he was at App State. But it's going to be difficult playing in places like the Swamp, like which Tennessee is going to have to do this year, or even like Mississippi State for that matter. I mean, I'm sure a lot of teams that he played against at App State, I mean, weren't even as loud as some of these like lower tier schools in like the SEC. But I'm not too worried about that, to be honest, because like I think that's where his experience comes into play. And like, you know, he may not have had like played against some of the competition that he will be playing against at Tennessee, but he's at least seen things and at least is like had years to mature and everything. And like he knows like what it's like to run an offense and everything like that. And like, you know, I mean, it'd be better to have that than to have like with Jake Merklinger, who has not ran the offense yet. I mean, like, of course he did in high school, but high school is a big difference for than it is in like college football.
Yeah, Joey Aguilar has played in ACC Death Valley, so it's not as if he's completely new to all of this. But you are right, though. It will be a little bit more difficult in him just getting adjusted to environments. And we mentioned it earlier, but again, I just don't see a big downgrade with Aguilar coming into this system as opposed to what Nico left it in. But if something does go wrong, we will know pretty early on in the season.